Morning, this is Mornings with Michael for information and educational purposes only. We're going over three things today. Let me just share our screen. First is going to be our word of the day. Our word of the day is Canard. Canard is an unfounded rumor or story, a small wing-like projection attached to an aircraft forward of the main wing to provide extra stability or control. Contrary to rapidly spreading Canard, the lead actor would not be making a special appearance after the show. So that's our word of the day, Canard. Let's go to our heat map. Got our little ad in here. Here's our heat map for the day. Microsoft is pretty flat. A lot of the techs are awaiting NVIDIA's results. Few of the semiconductors are up. It's kind of a mixed bag out there today. So Tesla is down big after being up slightly yesterday. Energy is mostly down, and financials is a mixed bag. You're concerned about upcoming recession that everybody is incessantly being talking about. Well, take a look at see if I can find the screen here. Here we go, all the way down on the bottom. An annuity. You can roll your money over to annuity and you'll never have to worry about what happened in 2008 where the market lost 54%. Goes up a step, goes up a step, beats index investing by about 5%, and currently a number of annuities are offering 25 to 40% bonuses. If you'd like to learn more about that, feel free to reach out to us. Go to our screen. Our dollar index, our dollar is up slightly today, up 0.21%. Silver is big downdraft today. Gold doing about the same, gap down and is on its low for the day. Arrow in the copper area, gap down and it's falling to its 10-day moving average. Take a look at our copper index. And it is slicing through its 10-day moving average. Southern Copper doing about the same, slicing through its 20-day. Freeport McMoran doing about the same, although it is trying to read a little bit. Vale falling to its 10-day moving average. BHP, big slice down to right through its 200-day moving average. Right, we're going to try to bring up another chart. Where get back to the main action here. And finally, we'll take a look at Rio. Here we go. Rio is falling as well. Kind of fill in the gap over here. So we'll see what happens with that. Share our screen. Bitcoin was up, was down, and all around, it's kind of bouncing around today. And then let's see, Ethereum had a big move. It was down at 2,900 about a week ago. And to see that huge move there, that is a story there. Let's go back to our screens. Take a look at our bond yields. Bond yields tried to move higher and then is pulling back a little bit. This is on the 10-year at 4.42%, and the 20-year is falling as well. We'll look at the VIX. VIX is bouncing right here, had come down. So all the gaps have been filled. So we're just going to have to see if there, I believe there's a gap right up here around 1677 to looks like around 1817. So we'll see if that gets filled. S&P 500 is pulling back. RSP, equal weight of the S&P, pulling back slightly. The NASDAQ off 0.25%. Like we said, everybody's kind of waiting for NVIDIA's earnings. IWM pulling back to the 10-day. The Dow Jones pulling back. Take a look at oil prices. They're falling today. Energy. Energy is slow to respond here. Energy is diving. Yeah, it gapped right through all of its major moving art averages here. So wrong key. Financials pulling back to the 10-day. Real estate pulling back. Communications kind of steady there. Technology pulling back a little bit. Software had gotten a bounce. HubSpot has been one of the leaders. Up slightly. Had tried to get up to its 50-day, pulling back. CrowdStrike tried to move higher today and it's pulling back. We did put on a 320 call option. So if that remains in the money, we will move into that stock. So got infrastructure. Infrastructure pulling back a little bit. Semiconductors pulling back as well. Metals and mining, we got a gap down and on the low for the day. Home builders, I think are going to be down today because second month in a row, housing had pulled back. Charting, sure if it is internet connection or what, but it is a little slower today. Home builders slices through the 50-day. And so that is our story there. And now let's go to the news. Target, Q1 sales fell 3.1%. Stock, huge gap down here. Pretty good volume, down 7.5%. Lululemon announces evolved structure of product and brand teams, elevates global creative director, and established the chief brand and product activation officer. And still this thing a little slow today. Lululemon falling on that news, down about 7.24%. Toll Brothers in the home builders, Q2 EPS $4.55 versus $4.14. On home sales of 2.65 billion versus 2.533, tried to move higher, and a big sell-off down about 8%. Urban Outfitters, Q1 EPS 69 cents versus estimate of 52 cents. And that tried to move higher and is pulling back quite a bit, down 4%. Shopify upgraded to buy from neutral at Goldman, up slightly, up 3.56. Raised target $74 from 67 cents, from $67, noting shares are down 23% year to date. Skyline Champion, Q4 adjusted EPS 62 cents versus 68. And we got a big drop, and it's fighting back towards the end here. On to energy, industrials, and materials. Dycom, Q1 EPS $2.12 versus $1.51. Dycom is bouncing up, actually. $1.51 versus $1.14 versus estimate of a 1.09 billion. It says for Q2 expects organic contract revenues to grow by high single digits. So earnings increased 23%. On to Modine Manufacturing. Modine initially gapped down and now is fighting back towards the end. Q4 EPS 77 cents versus estimate 76 cents. On to financials. Citigroup was fined almost 62 million pounds by UK regulators for failures after a London trader caused a flash crash in European stocks in 2022. And not much movement on that news. On to Lincoln National. Lincoln National and Prudential both upgraded from buy to hold at Jefferies in the insurance sector. A big gap up on Lincoln National, up 3%. Prudential is up slightly, up 1.23%. To XP, reported 29% increase in Q1 net profit year over year at $1.03 billion reais net profit. This is a Brazil-based company in securities brokerage, and it's not what people are looking for, even though earnings increased 28%, a huge drop, a little over 13%. Just adjust my screen here. On to healthcare. Announces 525 million convertible senior notes offering. Just going to stop for a moment. So we are back. LifeStance, $20 million share spot secondary priced at 6.25. And we got a huge gap down on their shares, down 20%. Neurocrine Biosciences announced a publication of data from post-hoc analysis of phase 3 Connect4 study of Ingrezza capsules in the Journal of Clinical Psychopharmacology, and had a big move back and forth, but remains almost unchanged. After that news, Novo Nordisk said an office building in Bagsværd, Denmark was hit by fire on Wednesday, while adding that the fire brigade was working on the site to extinguish the blaze. And they're down about 1% today. Resolute shares soared after saying its study of potential eye disease treatment met its primary endpoints. It soared and then it has pulled back quite a bit, down 8.32%. In Stryker was upgraded from buy to hold at Needham with a $392 price target, as it expects product launches combined with Stryker's capital equipment backlog to allow it to deliver upside. So they are up 1.36% onto technology, media, and telecom. PDD Holdings Q1 adjusted EPS $2.83 versus $1.42. And they are up 0.9% after being up much higher earlier. Phototronics reports Q2 EPS 46 cents versus 54 cents last year. Big gap down, trying to fight back, down 7%. Samsung Electronics, I guess it's not listed on our exchange, replaced the head of semiconductor business, who had also served as co-CEO. And Viasat Q4 revenue rose 73% year over year to 1.15 billion versus estimate 109 billion, tried to move higher, and now is down 16%. Wow, that's a pretty big change. And then that is our news for the day. Let's go take a look at what is moving. 10% on 200% increase in volume. Mainly solar. As we kind of await the NVDA results. DQ Solar is up big time, up 17%. Jinko Solar up a little over 15%. Moderna, look at that move, up 11%. Had a nice breakout right over here at 115.99, and it has just been skyrocketing ever since. Bloom Energy just continues its rocketing action. Their earnings were way back here And then it has just kind of bounced, and look at all this volume coming in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 7 days in a row. Got some pretty massive buying there. Brady, Class A, manufacturer's facility and secured identification label signs. Pretty big move on a 15% increase in volume. And finally, First Solar in the solar area. Look at that move. It's up 17% today. Just wanted to take a look at Enphase. Yeah, market surge is going slow here. So we're back here. Here's Enphase. Enphase popped a little over 8%. Pretty good volume right over here. This is a former leader. It's kind of basing. So 139.75 would be the breakout there. So that is the story. It's been a long basing process. Let's take a look at it, a weekly. Hit a high right over here, and you can see the income arrow or line has been pulling down, so the stock has kind of followed that line down. So we'll see if it can break out. So since we've last seen each other, Bitcoin did pop quite a bit from the 162 area to right around here. I added back to MicroStrategy, and they came news that they're going to be added to an international ETF, I believe it's in Europe. They continued moving higher. Got a little bit of a pullback here. Looks like a cup with a handle kind of forming. So I continue to like MicroStrategy. NVDA, like we've been saying, we're just waiting on the earnings report. It had been up earlier, it's pulling back. Looks like getting close to the 10-day moving average. RTX, it's just kind of holding. We bought it at 100, put on a 105 short call, covered call option. We'll just see how it goes out on Friday. We maybe get called away. You may use that money to buy some more MicroStrategy if it looks good. Toast. Toast, continue to hold, kind of bouncing around down here. I think this is going to, as they continue to grow in the restaurant area. Speaking of restaurants, Cava Mediterranean Grill continues pull back from the 80 area. Continue to like this stock. We're just kind of waiting on earnings in 6 days. CrowdStrike, we talked about a little earlier. I believe we bought the 320 call option, but remains up in this area. We think this may be developing a cup with a handle. If this handles out here, Lyft. So Lyft is pulling back here, kind of oscillating into this Darvis box. We'll see if it can break out. Needless to say, we do have the $20 covered call option through June. So either way, going to continue to make some money on Lyft. Pearl, Frontline, kind of fill in the gap right over here, down about 4% today. Everything was up earlier, but now everything is kind of turned down negative. Follow management, tried to move higher and is pulling back. EC, got a gap down here. Earnings in one day, down 6% today. The Appfolio, AppLovin actually has pulled back from its 10-day down to its 20-day. We may close that one out before the close today. Cellulose, pulling back, tried to move higher, pulling back. Shift for payments had this pretty big move up here, and I was pulling back towards the 10-day moving average. Arrow Environment, kind of holding pretty tightly right up there. That's a good sign. NetApp, it's actually up day and a down day reversal, so that looks good. And finally, we have ELF. Just have options on ELF. Was up earlier and now it's pulling back down nearly 2%. Earnings are due after the close today. So that is a look at what we're currently doing. And I welcome everybody for tuning in for Mornings with Michael for information and educational purposes only. It's your responsibility to do your own due diligence. But in the meantime, everybody have a great Wednesday and we'll catch up with you later.